Something I'm not hearing anyone talk about with the newly announced BYU Medical School is why the Church of Jesus Christ, sometimes known as the Mormon Church, is choosing to get back into the medical school business after it suddenly shut everything down 50 years ago. And it's not like there wasn't a desire or a need for it. There's currently a shortage of healthcare professionals in Utah. The ratio of doctors to residents in Utah is 21 physicians to every 10,000 people, which is below the national average of 29.9 doctors to every 10,000 people. So the supply is low, but also the demand for this kind of education is high. About 200 BYU grads enter medical school every year. So BYU is in the top 25 schools of students applying to medical school. This demonstrates that Brigham Young University is a major source of quality med school applicants, but without an actual med school at BYU, they end up going elsewhere. And then on top of all of that, from a religious point of view, not having a med school or a hospital seems like a major gap in the church's outreach efforts, because other religious organizations like the Seventh-day Adventists, the Jesuits, they use international healthcare as a major source of missionary and proselyting efforts. So the fact that the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints just gave it all up 50 years ago seems baffling. So to understand the strategy that I think the church is employing here, we need to look back at some history. The Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints produced some of the first female doctors in the United States. Like, that's how invested they were in medical education in our past. All the way back in Nauvoo, so like 1840s, Latter-day Saints Zina Huntington and Patty Sessions headed the Board of Health for the city of Nauvoo, Illinois. And at the time, Nauvoo was one of the largest cities in the state. In 1849, Phoebe Engel presided over the Council of Health in Salt Lake City. And things get interesting in the 1870s because the president of the church, Brigham Young, and the president of the Relief Society, Eliza R. Snow, sent women such as Romania Pratt and Emma Lillenquist back east to obtain formal medical degrees. This is the first real investment in formal medical education, and then the first hospital was built. In 1882, the Deseret Hospital was organized in Salt Lake City, staffed primarily by Latter-day Saint women doctors. In 1905, LDS Hospital opened the same year as the University of Utah Medical School. So today, the most prestigious medical school in Utah is the University of Utah, but the Church of Jesus Christ was already operating a hospital by the time they were just barely getting started. The children's ward at LDS Hospital began in 1913, supported by the primary. And then in 1922, the primary founded what later became the famous Primary Children's Hospital that began in 1953. In 1924, the Cottonwood Maternity Hospital opened, supported by the Relief Society. And by 1963, the church owned 15 hospitals throughout the mountain region. 15! So what happened to them? Well, in 1975, the church donated all of their hospitals to Intermountain Healthcare. At the time, Intermountain Health was a brand new nonprofit, and now Intermountain Health has 33 hospitals in 7 western states with annual revenues of $4 billion. When the church divested its hospital properties in 1975, the first presidency specifically said that with the expansion of the church around the world, it was difficult to justify the expense of healthcare services for a single affluent geographic area, and that the church was now going to focus on the health needs of the worldwide church. And now the pieces start coming together on why the church is restarting this investment in healthcare now. Time and time again, the church has demonstrated a pattern of sacrificing a convenience or service in Utah to serve a global community. I mean, just a few years ago, the church canceled most local pageants for the same reason. So in 1975, the church was not in a position to serve a global community with the health system they had established in Utah. And now, 50 years later, the church has committed to starting a medical school with an explicit goal of international outreach. So the church is accomplishing that goal of serving the worldwide church by training doctors and medical professionals that can heal and teach in underserved areas around the world. Also keep in mind that for the first time in the history of the church, we now have 2 medical doctors in the first presidency in the Quorum of the 12 Apostles, President Russell M. Nelson and Apostle Dale G. Renlund. And of course, medical schools are notoriously expensive, but the church is well prepared in this area right now. As of March 2024, the church is openly reported stock portfolio alone exceeded $50 billion. So basically, this is why Brigham Young University is building a medical school now. The timing is right. According to Tyler Johnson, a physician on the faculty at Stanford Medical School, he thinks the church is now at a place in its history where it's ideally positioned to bless the world. So yeah, most medical schools, there's a portion of the curriculum dedicated to international health, but at BYU's future school, it's going to be the very reason for its existence. We're currently baptizing tens of thousands of people in places like the DR Congo, where many lack access to basic healthcare services such as neonatal resuscitation, immunization, and deworming. The Relief Society is spearheading right now a massive global effort to deliver nutrition and health services to millions of women and children in low-income countries. So we have an eager student body, we have a church membership in need, we have medically trained church leaders, and we now have the financial capacity to make this vision a reality. Now go watch this video if you want to learn even more about the details of this new announcement on the Scripture Central YouTube channel.